We've got a lot to be proud of, do we not? You've seen the pictures. Some of those are some really cute and funny pictures, aren't they? And yet these pictures represent also accomplishments of their lifetime to this point. So what a day. What an accomplishment. And we want to honor them as well. We've got a gift for you guys from the church. So when I call your name, let me start. Jacob Keaton. If you would come up here, young man. You not only got your high school diploma this year, but you got a sister-in-law. Congratulations to you. Here, Mom wants your picture right there. Man, we are so proud of you, and we appreciate what God is doing in and through your life. Give Jacob a hand. Our other high school graduate is Ashanti Hunter. I don't believe Ashanti was able to be here this morning, but we will be sure that she gets her gift, and we are very proud of her. Now, we have 4 college graduates. Victoria Rose Keaton. Victoria graduated from Concord, and your degree is in visual arts and graphic design. And you not only got a college degree, but you got your MRS degree this year too, didn't you? And both of those are important, but hey, we are very proud of you, and God bless you. Another one of our college graduates is Cassie Connor. She graduated from Concord, and she has her degree in K through 6 elementary education. And boy, what a challenge you're going to have starting your first official year of school. But I got to tell you, we are so proud of you and your accomplishment. And we believe God's going to do great things through you. Another one of our college graduates is Tiffany Earps. She got her degree in nursing, and she's working right now as a nurse. Imagine that. She gets her degree and goes right to work. Who does that kind of thing, right? She is busy in a field, a very important field, and we have a gift for Tiffany. You be sure to congratulate her when you see her. Our last but definitely not least college graduate that we want to recognize is our own Dr. Timothy Mark Jennings II. You're welcome. Mark is a doctor, got his doctorate in pharmacy. And what an important field that is in this day and age. Amen. And he is pursuing vocational pursuits here, and we're going to trust that God's going to guide his steps. And who knows, Mark may be the one that's finding everything we need to get through this pandemic and helping with that process. We're proud of you, Mark. God bless you. Now, I got to tell you, you seniors, you know, back in the day, there was this thing called Senior Skip Day. And the class of 2020 mastered that. Amen? Look, if anybody wins the competition on having the most unique graduating year, you guys got it. And you didn't ask for it. Amen? And you didn't necessarily get the ceremonies that you were anticipating. You didn't get the ceremonies you were anticipating. But today, as we honor our graduates, I want to share a message that I believe is important not only for our graduates, I'll gear it to them, but it's for all of us. If you have your Bible, I want you to look with me in Galatians, the 6th chapter. We're going to be looking together today in Galatians chapter 6, verses 7 through 9. Now, we're honoring 2 high school graduates and 4 college graduates today. And as I think and have been thinking about this message and what I wanted to hopefully pass on to all of us, and especially our graduates, I reflected on some time when I was in college. I went to Mid-America Bible College at the time. It's now known as Mid-America Christian University. And there were a couple of guys that I roomed with. And, you know, I don't know what all you guys did in college to goof off, but when you're at Bible college, you goof off in some weird ways, I guess. We, to just kill time, we had a television set, a 13-inch color television set for entertainment with a bona fide VHS cassette player. Top of the line technology. Yeah, I'm old. And we would watch videos, and somewhere along the way, we got a hold of this cartoon video that had Porky Pig on it. Anybody remember Porky Pig? And in this particular cartoon, Porky Pig sang a song like only Porky Pig can. And the words to this song that I'm going to recite and not sing, because I can't sing anyway and I don't even want to try to sing like Porky Pig. The words to this song, I believe it or not, from a Porky Pig song, I believe the words to this song are vital for our graduates and for each and every one of us today. Here are the words to Porky's song. For your long winter needs, you just plant a few seeds. You must get up and work, not sleep. Dig and hoe, watch them grow. As you sow, so shall you reap. Pretty profound, isn't it? What's even more profound is there's a second verse. He went on a little later to sing these words. Be a diligent man, you better work while you can. Yes, it's better to earn your keep. Dig and hoe, watch them grow. As you sow, so shall you reap. Amen? Now, I don't know what's more astounding about the words that came out of Porky's mouth. The fact that they came through a cartoon, or that 3 college students actually sat and watched it. But here's what I would like for us to understand simply today. The words that were said in this song, or sung in this song by Porky Pig, did not originate with Porky Pig. They go back a way lot further than the originator of that cartoon. They go back to creation itself. It's the law of the harvest that God ordained from the beginning of time. You reap what you sow. Amen? And God inspired a man named that we know more frequently as the Apostle Paul to pen these words to the Galatians in Galatians chapter 6, beginning at verse 7. Look at these words in your Bible, please. Paul writes these words to the Galatian believers. Do not be deceived. God is not mocked. For whatever a man sows, that will he also reap. He who sows to his flesh will of the flesh reap corruption. But he who sows to the Spirit will of the Spirit reap life everlasting. And let us not grow weary while doing good, for in due season we will reap if we do not lose heart. If I could get one simple message across to not only our graduates whom we're honoring today, but also to every one of us, most of whom have graduated a long time ago, amen or oh me. If I can get it across to each of us and to those who are anticipating graduating high school and college in the future, if I could get us to understand what God wants us to understand, it's in simple terms in Galatians chapter 6. He begins in verse 7 by saying there's this divine law that's been put into place. You're going to reap in life what you sow. Do you understand that? Now, how many of you have sat through long, boring graduation speeches? How many of you want to sit through another one today? Didn't think so. So I'll make this short and sweet. I will talk as fast as you can listen. Agreed? 3 quick points about sowing and reaping. Catch them quickly. The first is simply this: you reap what you sow. Amen? Back in the day, growing up in Welch, on a little plot of land, in a home that my brother now resides in, there's this little plot of land, and we didn't have a farm by any definition of the term. I went with Ron Ball and saw a bunch of farmland in Monroe County yesterday. You know, compared to what little plot of land my parents had and that we were raised on, all Dad could do is grow some flowers here, there, and yonder. But he had some spots set out where he would grow him some tomatoes every year. And let me tell you, Dad was serious about growing tomatoes. He would start in the wintertime, finding out what seed was going to be best. He would study on it. He would order some seeds, and then he would get those seeds in the mail. And he would go down in the basement, and he would have a place set up where he could plant those seeds. He put in some dirt in a milk carton. Not a jug, not one of those plastic jugs, but a milk carton. He would put the soil, put those seeds in there, and he would start raising his seedlings, these tomato plants, by himself or for himself, strictly from seed. And he made sure that it had the proper miracle grow and whatever else he would add to that. And he wanted, during those early times before he could ever plant, before planting season was ever able to be on the horizon, he was doing this in the basement because the root system would grow deep and strong. And after he got those to the point that they needed to be, and the weather got to where it was right to plant, he would go out and plant these tomatoes. And he had a little competition going on with Mr. Robinson, the neighbor. Because you see, Mr. Robinson also planted tomatoes. And, these were men growing men tomatoes. Right? And they had to be sure that they were growing the best they could. And Dad would look over into the neighbor's yard and see how his was doing. Mr. Robinson would look over and see how Dad's was doing. But Dad did all kinds of crazy things. I mean, he did important things. He planted them, he watered them, he put Miracle Grow on them, he put insecticide on them, the appropriate ones to keep the bugs off of them. But Dad even researched it a little bit more, and he would talk to his plants out in the evening, encouraging them to grow. I think he entertained playing music to them. I'm just not sure he ever got around actually to that point. And I can tell you this, Dad every year grew some really good tomatoes. And how many of you know there ain't nothing like a good homegrown tomato? Come on now. You go up there in whatever time and in whatever grocery store of your choosing, you get one of them store-bought tomatoes. Thank God we have them and for the farmers who grow them. But there's nothing like a homegrown tomato. And when those things came into harvest, boy, we would enjoy some good homegrown tomato eating. And sometimes Dad wouldn't even wait till they got ripe. He would pick them when they were green and convince Mom to do what? Fry them. Thank God we're in the South. Fried green tomatoes. Well, I tell you what, Dad got pretty good at growing tomatoes. He invested in them. He put time and effort and energy and probably a lot of prayer and a whole lot of other things, a lot of talking to his tomatoes. And he accomplished a lot of things when he grew tomatoes. But let me tell you one thing he never did. In all the tomato plants he ever put in the ground, I don't know how many hundreds, maybe thousands of them he had planted in his lifetime. But in all of that time, when he planted tomatoes, there was not one season when a tomato plant he ever put in the ground ever grew a watermelon. You know why? Because he didn't plant watermelon. He planted tomatoes. And when you plant tomatoes, you're going to get... Thank you. We've got a bunch of graduates here today, right? Bunch of educated people. And half of you are wondering why, preacher, why didn't you understand that? Why would you expect your dad to plant tomatoes and to get watermelon? Well, I didn't. But as preposterous as that is to maybe think that could happen, Do you know there are a whole lot of people who are thinking that they can sow to sin and reap something more than sin? Listen to me. You reap what you sow. If you are spending your spiritual energy on the things of the flesh, I want you to understand you will one day reap the results of what you've sown. And it's not going to be godliness. It's not going to be character. It's not going to be these virtues that you see in others that you would want to have in yourself. It's not going to be these virtues that you want your friends to have. It's not going to be those virtues that you really want your spouse to have, right? You're going to be producing some things in your life that are horrible. And you might be scratching your head and wondering why. Well, here's why. You thought you were going to get watermelon, but you planted tomatoes. And you're scratching your head wondering why you didn't get watermelon? Listen to me. If you sow to the flesh, you're going to reap fleshly results. But if you sow to the Spirit, you will reap spiritual results. Why? Because you reap what you sow. It's that simple. We not only reap what we sow, but we reap after we sow. Dad planted his tomatoes, but he had to do a whole lot of work before he ever actually planted them in the ground. And after he planted them in the ground, you know what? We went right out the next day and we had tomatoes. Right? Isn't that how it works? I mean, you plant them today and you run out tomorrow with your bread and your mayonnaise, ready to eat you a tomato sandwich. Duke's mayonnaise, by the way. Nothing else will do. Well, no, it doesn't work that way. You see, you got to plant at the appropriate time, and then you've got to give it some time before the plant grows and produces fruit. And the first fruit, if it's tomato plants that's going to come out, isn't red tomatoes. It's green tomatoes, and some of you can't wait. You got to cut them up and fry them, amen? Dolly, you got fried green tomatoes at yours? You wish you did. Okay. At some point you got green tomato cake, because I had it at your, yeah. Okay. That's good too. Just so you'll know, you can do more with green tomatoes than just fry them. You can put them in cake. Dolly knows how to do it. You not only reap what you sow, but you reap after you sow. And here's the thing. This works both ways. When it comes to sowing to the good things of God, a lot of times we want to see immediate results. And when we don't see those immediate results, we get discouraged. And we wonder, is it really worth it? Here's the other thing that can happen. Sometimes in this sowing and reaping thing, we've done some bad stuff. Anybody done any bad stuff in their life? You don't have to raise your hand. I know the answer to that already. I've done some bad stuff too. What'd you do, Brother Ray? None of your business is what I did. A whole lot of none of your business. And let me tell you something. The worst thing that can happen when we're doing the wrong things, the worst thing that can happen is that we do something wrong and we don't immediately get caught and get punished. See, that's how it works. You get by with something. You ever got by with a little more of a lead foot than you should have had? Come on, we're having an altar call after this. You get by and you didn't get pulled over, or you got pulled over and they didn't give you a ticket. And And some of them who go through that part of the process, got pulled over, didn't get a ticket, and they don't learn a lesson. And before you know it, they just keep traveling at excessive speeds and cause an accident. Well, that's really just kind of a lighter thing, to be honest with you. Accidents, the accidents that can happen are not a light thing. But here's the point that I'm trying to get across. There are times when we sow to the flesh, and because we don't see an immediate bad consequence, we think we're getting by with something. That's not how sowing and reaping works. Sometimes, a lot of times, we're going to reap way after we sow. And here's what the writer of Ecclesiastes said. This will come up on the screen. Because the sentence against an evil work is not executed speedily, therefore the heart of the sons of men is fully set in them to do evil. Listen to me. One of the best things that could ever happen to a young kid who tries smokeless tobacco is that he turns 15 shades of green and throws up the soles of his shoes. But some of us didn't have that experience. I didn't. When I tried smokeless tobacco, I got lightheaded and it changed the color of my spit. And I kind of liked it. And I got hooked on it. And stayed hooked on it for a long time. Until I figured out, you know what? Long term, this is going to cause some problems. And by the grace of God, I quit that habit. One of the best things that could ever happen to a young person who, for whatever reason, decides to try alcohol is that they throw up the soles of their shoes. But that's not the experience for a lot. They try a little bit. It makes them feel good. Then they want a little bit more to make them feel better. And gradually over time, leaning on chemicals to help you cope instead of leaning on God to help you cope becomes your habit. If left unchecked, alcohol won't cut it at some point. And it takes something harder, another kind of drug. And before you know it, over a long period of time, it didn't happen immediately, but eventually they're reaping what they've sown. And our society is seeing that now, whether you want to admit it or not. How many rehabs are in our community or our state and our nation? Trying to help people. Thank God there's help out there for folks. Don't misunderstand what I'm saying. But how much better would it have been if they never would have started? You reap what you sow. You reap after you sow. Let me give you quickly the positive side of that one. Have you ever decided, like at the beginning of the new year, to join the gym? And you think, oh, I'm going to get into shape. And you go to the fitness center. And you are so pumped up, not on January 1st because you had to sleep in on January 1st because you stayed up late on December 31st. But maybe on January 2nd, you get up early and you go to the fitness center and you are so pumped up and you think, here I go, and you work out on every machine the fitness center has to offer. Then you jump in the pool and swim 100 laps and you come out and you're feeling good and you go home and you get up the next day and you don't get up the next day. Because you can't move. You overdid it. And then you learn a little bit and you back off maybe. And here's what I want you to understand. When it comes to physical fitness, if you will do consistently 3 to 5 days a week, exercising a little bit each day, not so much that you wear your body out and discourage yourself, but just consistently doing things over a long period of time, you will eventually begin to reap the benefits of that exercise that you're doing. Because you not only reap what you sow, but you reap after you sow. Now, when it comes to things of the Spirit, too many of us want to get our lives all perfect after one prayer meeting. We want one experience with God, and as important as one experience with God can be, I'm not trying to discount that. I want you to understand, growing in your faith and developing into a spiritually mature and healthy person does not happen overnight. You not only reap what you sow, but you got to reap after you sow. It takes some prolonged time to become a Sister Vest. Sister Vest didn't become the Sister Vest we know in 2 weeks. Right, Sister Vest? It's been a long-term investment of consistently doing the right thing over decades. Why? Because you not only reap what you sow, but you reap after you sow. Well, here's the third one, and then we're going to be done. We reap what we sow, we reap after we sow, but we also reap more than we sow. I am holding in my hand an ear of corn that I did not raise myself, but I did buy it with my own money. Now, Doug, can you tell me how many kernels of corn are on this one ear? You want to take a shot? 200. That's a good guess. I have estimated that there are 390 kernels of corn on this one ear. Okay? Now, just so you'll know, I did not sit around and take the time to count them one by one. I did what I was taught in school in estimating. I counted how many were around this way and how many were this way, and estimated there are 390 kernels of corn on this one ear of corn. How many ears of corn am I holding up right now? One. One ear of corn with, at an estimate, 390 kernels of corn. Imagine with me that these 390 kernels of corn were planted in the ground for this season. And each one of them grew stalks that produced 2 ears of corn. Exactly like this one. I know it's theory, but work with me on this. If 390 kernels of corn were planted in the ground and they sprung up and produced 2 more ears of corn each, just like this one, how many ears of corn would I have, Ted? A lot of them. If those 390 kernels of corn sprung up and grew 2 kernels, or produced 2 ears of corn, I would have 780 ears of corn. How many did I start with? 1. And now we have 780 ears of corn. Imagine if each of those 780 ears of corn had 390 kernels on them, just like this one. And we took those kernels and planted them in the ground. And they each grew up and produced 2 ears of corn. How many would we have? We would go from 780 ears with 390 kernels on it. That would give us 304,200 kernels of corn, each that would be planted in the ground to produce 2 more ears of corn. That would take us to 608,400 ears of corn. How many did we start with? 1. What if each and every one of those ears of corn had 390 kernels of corn on them? How many would we then have in kernels? We would have 237,276,000 kernels of corn. Imagine if those kernels of corn were planted somewhere in the only flat spot in West Virginia that would hold that much corn, and we could grow those up and it would produce 2 more ears of corn. How many ears of corn would we then have? 474,552,000 ears of corn. How many did we start with? One. How do you go from 1 ear of corn to nearly 500 million ears of corn? You understand that you not only reap what you sow, you reap after you sow, and you reap more than you sow. Good or bad, right or wrong, whatever you're sowing to, that's what you're going to reap. Good or bad, right or wrong, whatever you're sowing, it's after you sow that you're going to reap what you reap. Good or bad, right or wrong, you're not only going to reap what you sow, you're not only going to reap after you sow, but you're going to reap more than you sow. And the question that I have, not only for our graduates, but for each and every one of us here today, is when we get later on in our years and our life comes to a close, do we want to be reaping a whole lot more of a whole lot good? Or do we want to be reaping a whole lot more of a whole lot of bad? What we reap now will determine the more we get later. Now, to our graduates, and to each of us here today, and to those who are watching online, I want you to know, I believe with all of my heart that there is the potential in this room and within each and every one of us, wherever we're watching, whenever we're watching this, to produce great and mighty things for God. I believe when you put your faith and trust in Jesus Christ and you begin at whatever point you are in life to sow to the Spirit, you will reap to the Spirit not only life everlasting, but you will reap amazing things that will bless a whole lot of other people. And I pray that God works through our graduates especially and through each and every one of us here today to bring about a lot of good in this world. I don't know about you, but I've looked around and there's plenty of bad going on. Sometimes our young people are told, well, they get into people in general, young people sometimes, but it doesn't have to be young. I've seen it happen with older people too. Oh, they're just sowing their wild oats. You ever heard that phrase? Listen to me. I've looked around. There's a whole lot of wild oats already growing. We're not lacking for wild oats in this world. What we're lacking is for righteousness and goodness and truthfulness and honor and integrity. Where are the people who will start sowing that kind of thing in their own lives and reaping it not only for them, but helping others to reap it as well? With God as my helper, I'm trying to be that kind of person. And I challenge you today to be that kind of person as well. Oh, don't get me wrong. I'm not suggesting I'm perfect at it. I done told you. There's a whole lot of things down the way where I sowed some things I shouldn't have sown. And I'm grateful today that God